Hey guys, welcome back to Snowball Burrito. This is your co-host Burrito, alongside with
Snowball.
as your host.
I just opened myself a prime. Just so you guys know. Lemon lime.
All
It's
right,
really
you know what? I said I was gonna save it till tomorrow, but you know what?
Gotta get
It's a
that-
Red Bull.
Yeah, I gotta get that Red Bull kick. Gives you wings, folks. Well, at least that's what they always say.
Crazy.
See how true that is in the future. Anyway,
Our topic today is going to be our journey as human beings so far.
and it's gonna cover, a wide range of sort of mini topics like, us as individuals, some stuff about our past, things we're doing right now, things we aspire to do maybe in the future, and then injuries, just kind of, us, and also covers our friendship, just kind of giving you a kind of mini brief overview of sort of what we're going to discuss. But yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, so it's like a normal basis talk like we usually have.
Yeah.
This will be good.
Because me and this guy over here, we've known each other for a long time. We never really became friends until I think at least
End of
fourth grade.
End of fourth grade, beginning of fifth.
Yeah, because me and him, we've always known each other before that, but we never really hung out or talked much. And I know there'd be brief discussions we'd always have hanging out near a tree when being picked up from the elementary school that we both went to.
Yeah.
And so I remember one of the conversations being about like Crackdown 2 and how your mom wouldn't let you play it. And, like,
Yeah,
threw
but
it away.
she let me play like all these other games like Gears of War, Call of
Yeah.
Duty.
I just remember conversating about things like that, and yeah, we've always known each other. It's just I think our friendship grew stronger just the more we hung out and the more, because we also had mutual friends too who were kind of friends with me and friends with him, and then back and forth, and me and him pretty much just clicked.
Yeah,
as
basically.
friends. And we're still we're very similar people, but we're also very different too at the same time. And so yeah.
Yeah, like I'm very athletic. He's not. I'm just kidding. I'm playing with that one.
Well,
I mean, it's not entirely wrong, but it's not entirely true. Because anybody can be athletic. Anybody. Doesn't matter how big you started off as. You can always be an athlete. You just have to work for it.
well, you kind of grew up with that athlete mindset. Like, you've always been an athlete either way. Like, you've been involved with the track,
Yeah.
running, football. Like, you've just been more. I've been active in my own right with certain things. Like, I've done sports like tennis and cross country, which I got good at my last year, but I ended up quitting that because I just didn't feel like it was something I wanted to continue doing. But, I had my own little sort of active, like, part of myself that was there for a while, probably around probably 6th through 8th grade.
Yeah.
And then I sort of fell off after that because I stopped doing all that. And but yeah, you've always been.
Yeah, I played basically every sport that you can think of, except for two: tennis and competitive swimming.
Yeah,
I can't swim. First off,
he can't, folks, and
it's even
it's
hard
kind of
for me.
sad, but
Yeah.
each one of their own. He can't swim. It still blows my mind. He's one of the most athletic people I've known. And when he told me legit, like, he can't swim, I'm like, you're joking, right? And he's like, no. And I took him to Roaring Springs.
Oh, this
just to
motherfucker
try and,
almost
at least
killed
get
me.
him to start swimming more. And he, was kind of successful, at least with doggy paddling. But it was fun. It was just he just couldn't really do much with the, like, if there was a lot of swimming involved with some things, he wouldn't either do it, or it would just, I would just do it and he'd do another thing while I was doing that thing. But I mean, I never struggled to swim. It took me a while. It took me a long time to swim. I didn't really learn how to actually swim, or like actually figure out how to swim myself, because I don't think I was always like taught like the doggy paddle and all this other stuff, but it was one of those things where I think I really like figured it out on my own, just going swimming in general, and then I just sort of tried to like think of the different ways, hook my arms over, like do arches with my arms, and learn how to doggy paddle faster. And I'm a pretty good swimmer. I could swim long distances and be perfectly fine. Like I could swim out of situations if I needed to, but I'm no professional swimmer. I'm not like on a swim team, but I definitely know how to swim, which will be good in the case where if I have to swim a little bit, then I'll be fine. I hope.
Like, don't get me wrong. It's not the fact that I can't swim. I just can't stay afloat. I mean, I can swim underwater. Who can't swim underwater?
I mean, and for other people, for you, I still think you just need more practice. You really need to like focus on the technique of swimming, because I know I've tried showing you, it's still a struggle, but I know like I could definitely see you being a really great swimmer once you actually learn how to actually do it. It's just you gotta like really focus on like breathing too is important too, because a lot of times when people normally swim, you kind of have to breathe like breathe every like one or two strides with your arm, and so you also got to figure out the legs a little bit. The legs, you could kind of be iffy with, because sometimes when I swim, I just mainly use my arms, and I barely even use my legs. Like I don't like paddle them like crazy, and then I can do it that way too, which technically gives you more speed. But anyway, yeah. He can't swim, I can.
Yeah, lucky bastard. And then the other sport that I can't get myself to play, and I just don't like at all, is tennis.
Huh.
And this is this is the main reason. Okay, it's not the fact that I can't play tennis. Like I have the agility to play tennis.
Oh yeah.
It's the fact that I hit the ball too damn hard.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I found out, because I played tennis. Oh, let me think. I think it was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It might have been 7th or 8th. I can't remember. It was like definitely a couple years at least. And I still have both my tennis rackets, because I ended up having to get a new one because the handle on mine was just kind of getting bad. I could have bought a new wrap for it, but I think I just needed a better racket. But I got pretty good at tennis. I never was really that great. Like I wasn't like top tier or like great like singles I've always was teamed with somebody, and so I mean usually you could somewhat choose. Obviously you're gonna have the all-star people. Like I know a couple people that were on the team, from the top of my head, that were really good. They would do singles and just like throw their opponents for a loop. But I know doubles, there was some I lost, or we lost, some we won, but it was more wins than losses. I think it was the last year I did tennis, and it was fun. But yeah, I think that along with cross country, because I did the cross country because cross country was always a fall sport, and then tennis fell into the spring. So I remember I'd do those the whole school calendar year. And yeah, I think it was pretty much eighth grade. I stopped doing cross country, and then I actually was going to do tennis, but due to some circumstances which I can't even remember much of, I basically just couldn't really do tennis much anymore, so I just stopped doing it. And so but yeah, I just sort of and I used to play, actually, I forgot to say, I can't believe I forgot about this. I used to play a lot of soccer. Like technically I played soccer since kindergarten, if I want to count like a couple of events every year. But I played soccer as like a league team thing, like because our school never really actually had an actual like soccer team that was funded by the school, like some of the other sports were like track or football, for instance. So they'd have to go through this like third party club basically, and they designate it in the town, and it'd be called the blah blah blah, Crossfire Club is what it was called. And I think they might have changed it, or it might be something else now. They might have gotten something better or bigger. But
I also used to play in a league, just not in the same league as you guys. It was like where was it? I want to say Caldwell, but I'm not entirely sure about Caldwell.
Yeah.
It was a league. It was fun. I played it till like kindergarten to fourth grade, and then I stopped. But it was really fun.
I mean, like, pretty much growing up, I played a lot of soccer. I was mainly a defense player. I hated playing offense. I mean, I wasn't terrible at offense, but I was a lot better at guarding the goal, and it was always me and like another guy that were always chosen to be the defenders because we were really good defenders. But it was from like second grade to about the end of seventh grade year is when I played like league soccer, and we'd go out and go to Caldwell, Boise, and there'd be like a weekend or two where we'd have to wake up super early and be in like Boise by like 7 o'clock in the morning. And so like there was some stuff where it felt like an actual sport for the time. And I remember one of my greatest memories ever, and I remember this clear as day. We were out in Caldwell, and we were competing against one of the Caldwell League teams, and I don't know what this. It still blows my mind to how it happened. I mean, I have a couple memories of incredible memories. Like, I won a trophy. Actually, Our team got first place in a tournament, and I actually got to keep the trophy because my dad at that time coached. Basically, we split our teams up, and we also got other volunteers from other leagues and stuff to come and play this tournament. And I got to take the trophy home because our team won, and my father was the one who coached our team. So I was like, that was pretty lit. That's one memory, but still not my greatest, actually. My greatest memory is when I have a couple, actually. It's kind of hard to nail down, but I'd say my greatest is I remember one day we were all lined up on the field. We were starting the game. It was ready to go. We had people on one side. Coach is yelling like, do this, do that, blah blah blah, and we had a Mexican coach who actually his son and him had the same name. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They had the same name, junior and senior, but so this kid's father coached on the team. He was really good coach. I don't know if he does it now. It's been forever. I know, like even years after I stopped, he still did it. But anyway, we had our team on the one side, and the opposite team on there with the parents and the other people just cheering on. And I remember we scored the first 2 points within a couple minutes of the game starting. It was within the first 20 seconds of the entire game starting. And I scored those 2 points. It's like, well, how the heck did I score 2 points in like 20 seconds? Or even less than that. Well, the goalie, when he went to go roll out the ball, because someone had kicked it out, he rolled the ball to me twice somehow. Like, he literally, like, I don't know what, like his muscle or something, rolled the ball right to me. And it was the opposite team, so, it's like, why are you rolling it to me? And all I did, I was at the halfway mark of the field. I just kicked the ball. I just launch kick it. I scored the first point just like that within the first like 10 seconds. And I was like, okay, this is good. People were cheering me on. The coach was like, good job. He rolls it to me again. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like fast thinking, like, why is he rolling it? But I'm going to kick it anyway. I kicked it again, scored a second time. I was looking at my teammates like, there's no way I just scored 2 goals just like that. So we were already ahead by 2 points just like that. It was a real easy start. And I was coach being like, let's go. Like, it's like, good job. Like, he's like, wow. And then the kid finally got the hint, or I don't know what, he just went the other way and just rolled it. And then the game actually kind of got started at that point. They basically, yeah. The ball got rolled to me twice in a row for some reason. And I just kicked it in the goal twice. Because, I have a really good kick. I was one of the best kickers on the team when I actually got the ball and kicked. Because I had a really hard launch kick, pretty much. And so... And I know there was this one. I felt really bad, but it was kind of unintentional. This is another memory I have. I remember doing this insane, like, kind of, jump, like, side drop kick kind of move on a ball.
I think I know where this is going.
And I just remember, like, and then I spun my leg around. It was some, like, ninja shit, basically. And I, like, kicked the ball really hard, hit this kid's like, forehead really hard. It didn't knock him out, but it knocked him down. And because he went to go block it, but he wasn't, for some reason, he just wasn't high enough, and it still nailed the top of his forehead. And I kicked that fucking sucker so goddamn hard. And oh my god, like, he had a welt and shit. I was like, I felt really bad, but it was kind of, if for me, it was like kind of like a badass moment, because it felt like a ninja kick of some sorts. It was like I literally just jumped up the air, kind of went on my side, and spun and kicked the ball. It just, I don't know, it felt kind of badass. At least 4th grade me, it felt really badass because, and I remember there was this one game, I don't know what game, there was many games, but my adrenaline was fucking rushing. This is where I actually was mixed between defense and offense.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember, I don't know what it was. My adrenaline was just one of the highest it has ever been. I was sweating rivers. And I just remember, like, headbutting the ball, like, 3 times, going, yeah! Like, going like this, and I go to my mom, like, yeah! Like, flexing my muscles. And my coach is looking at me like, what is wrong with this kid? And I'm, like, going ham. I'm, like, running back and forth on the field.
Oh, God.
I forgot what caught. It might have been that same game, too, but my adrenaline was rushing. And I was going ham on that game, and then obviously at some point it started dying off. I started getting more tired, and I think I pretty much just ended the game with being on defense. But yeah, I was pretty decent soccer player is what I did for most of my, like, that's the sport I did the longest. And then now I don't really do anything. I just work.
Yeah, bitch.
But
I mean, I can't really say anything either. I mean, because right now I'm injured. You know, I've been injured for like 3 weeks now.
Crippled.
You fucking asshole. I hurt my knees. Really? Anyways, I hurt my knees, so I can't really do anything. I'm still a runner by heart. Before I was hurt, I was just get up early in the morning before I started work too. Get up in the morning, go for a run. Talk to this old guy that's also running, and then, we're running for like a little bit, and then I'm like, all right, this is where I'm gonna cut off and go this way to do my loop, and then he goes straight to do his loop. He's a cool guy. I bet you anything I go back out there, he's gonna be like, where the hell you been? Sorry, this guy did something funny.
Continue.
But yeah, so I'll always be a runner. I mean, sprinter, but like keep that running.
I'd say you're a fast runner, so you're more of an actual like sprinter.
Yeah, I'm going for runs just get back into runner shape, or was before I got hurt. It's great to be in runner shape for me. I love being in runner shape because it makes me feel like the best I've ever been.
Yeah.
Track and field was great.
I know the difference between me and you in terms of conditioning / running is you did track, so you did a lot of that like sprinting, like get to from A to B as fast as possible, basically.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to set record times, and you did set some records. And so, but for me, I did cross country, and so like I said, I never was great at cross country. Like I was like one of the last people on the team that would, for the middle school, that would, I would never be like last or like one of the last in the entire race with the other teams, and with our team, I'd be like one of the last people. I was never ever last. There was always someone worse than me, so that's how I always knew I was doing just good enough. But I know it was 8th grade year, like my conditioning got like really good all of a sudden, and I think it was just doing it those 3 years. And I remember the coach, because I actually started catching up with a lot of the runners that were always ahead. Like I actually started like running in their groups, like doing the
what's that one?
The
Daisy chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would always. I hated those. I absolutely hated those. Anytime they say we're doing daisy chains, I'd want to shoot my foot and just not run. But yeah, we would do daisy chains, and I'd actually catch up with those people and not be behind anymore. My conditioning got really good, and I was able to like keep up with them, run with them, and I actually started placing a lot higher in the team scores. Never got a medal. Never was like, fourth or fifth, but like we had quite a few people on our team, so I'd be like pretty much a little above the middle of scoring. So I'd be a little above average with our team, but I still wasn't like top notch runner. Like there were still people that were really fast, like a lot faster than me, and still kept going a lot longer. I knew my condition improved a lot. Like I was actually catching up with a lot of these different people. And I know the coaches noticed it, but yeah, it was after that I just quit. And I was always more of a long-distance runner, not much of a... I ran fast, but I was not, like, fast. And so, like, now I don't know how fast I could even run now, but because I haven't really bothered with that. But I know I try to keep conditioning up by, like, walking a bunch when working out, running occasionally or doing jogging mainly. And so I try to at least keep my condition up to where I don't feel sluggish every time I do jog or run, but still a challenge.
Shoot, when my knees get better, do you want to go for a run sometime?
We could do that.
Like I said, I'm just trying to get back into like runner shape.
It's gonna be a little while before you probably even do that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good while.
Yeah.
Like as soon at the end, it's when I get better. It's probably be the end of this month.
Like I think when you get better, we'll get into like conditioning to then get up to, okay, let's go up to a run, because you probably don't want to go straight doing that right away, depending on whatever happens with the knees. But
well, like even if
work up to just, all right, let's go on a run.
Like when I first I'm able to take off the braces like for a whole day without it hurting, going up and down the stairs and stuff. Obviously I'm not gonna go work out. I mean, I'm not gonna work out legs. I'm gonna go work out upper body and stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'll actually be able to walk finally, hopefully, soon. But yeah, I'm just gonna ease into it, take my time with it. Like I'm not gonna go
walking, to fast walking, to then jogging, to kind of going fast.
That's probably what I'm gonna do. Like as soon as once I'm able to take them off, I'm just gonna get out, go
Let's go for a walk.
They're not gonna see where I'm pointing and stuff. Like just walk up and down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take it really slow.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it'd be fun. Yeah, I as a kid I was always a bit reserved growing up for most of my life. I mean, I was never entirely reserved, but I'm still one of those people where I'm not the biggest fan of going out and like meeting even with family. Like I know not that long ago, a lot of family came out to where my mom is at, my mother's at, and I hadn't seen some of them in like 7-8 years, and so like I was a lot tinier, a lot different then. And it's crazy talking to them like oh my God, you have a deep voice now, and oh my God, you're so much bigger, and oh my God, you're so much taller, like you could take out a Russian bear. I'm like, oh, okay. Like literally,
no, you
one
cannot.
of them was like, God, you look like you can take out like a Russian bear or something. I'm like, I'm not that big, okay. Quit trying to put me on a pedestal here. But I've grown a lot, but not
even then. Like
tenfold.
Even if you were as heavy as a Russian bear, there's no way you could take a bear.
But I know, like, growing up, I was always reserved, and, like, obviously made my friends through, either other people or, just hanging out and trying to get to know people, like, elementary to middle school. But I wasn't big for, like, hanging out with loads of groups of people. I was always,
You were just in our small little group.
Yeah, it's pretty much one of those things where whatever friend group I had, I kind of just stuck with. And so as long as it lasted.
And same too. Like, me, I like kindergarten through basically till middle school, I didn't speak at all.
Yeah.
It was the fact that I was shy. It was also like trust issues because at home it wasn't really that good.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are these kids gonna treat me? And you see the TV shows. There's always the bully.
Yeah.
I've shut down my bullies immediately after I got them because of my lifestyle at home. So it wasn't bad.
I mean, I've had instances of like bullying. I mean, not too much like direct bullying, but sort of passive bullying. Like, I don't think I've ever been fully like bullied ever, but there's always been instances where I've had issues with people, but they ended up getting resolved, or just I've also just built a really good habit of just ignoring people and just keeping it to myself most of the time. Even now, if someone makes me mad, most of the time I'll just not even say anything, or I might get, well, if it makes me mad, I might get mad, but like I'm not gonna like, yell at someone or whatever, unless if it's for a very specific reason. But I'm always still reserved with feelings and emotions, and I tend to keep stuff a lot bottled up more, which I don't feel like harms me too much, because I know they always say it sort of, and I guess it is true that it can do more harm than good, because a lot of times it's kind of good to just let all that out sometimes. But I still feel it's very circumstantial, and it's like, there's stuff I could handle, bottle up, and then it'll just go away on its own. But yeah, I mean, nowadays I don't have problems much with anybody anymore. Kind of, I think we've all hit that stage where we're sort of grown up and have grown up from those stupid moments as kids and teenagers. And
I mean, there's still those tendencies
there's moments
that just so happen. I mean, that's kind of normal. That's just gonna happen all the time. Like, there's no perfectness in the world. So
yeah, perfect does not exist. People that say it does not. You can get as close as you can, but nothing will ever be perfect. So there's always going to be a flaw about something. There's always going to be another part of something that this person may not understand. But yeah, nothing is ever perfect in this world. And so,
like, our friendship, I would say it's close to perfect, pretty close, but it's not perfect, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, if it was perfect, we would never get in arguments, but we always do.
Yeah, a lot of times it's stupid stuff that ends up just getting resolved almost right away. But sometimes, we'll have moments, like I know this last year I've kind of had a really weird, rougher sort of year with stuff. And just sometimes, like, it's not that I intend to, like, for instance, like, I don't know, like, if I'm upset at you with something, a lot of times they'll try to tell you about it. And a lot of times I'll just be like, okay, maybe I just won't talk to him for a bit, and maybe it'll kind of ride itself out. And sometimes that works too, but it's one of those things where I tend to deal with things a little differently.
Yeah,
some people.
Because me, like, you just tell me and we just talk it out and it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the whole, like, let's just leave it alone, drop it, like, let's get back to it things,
yeah.
And we've done that mostly for almost all.
And honestly, there's stuff, there's like one thing, and I'm pretty sure you know what that thing is, that I wasn't happy that you were doing for a while, which pretty much jeopardized because me and him went to Canada for about 5 days this last summer, which was really fun. I miss it, and I know he does too.
Yeah,
but
no problems or nothing up there.
Yeah, no problems. But there was just a minor issue we were both trying to deal with.
Yeah, I was in a
little nervous about.
I was in a dark place at the time. I mean, I'm out of it now, but I was at a dark place at that time.
And originally, I'll just be frank, he wasn't going to come with, but we settled things, talked about stuff, and it was like pretty much a week or so before we went. I asked him because then it came down to me just going by myself, which I would have been content with. It would have been probably a little harder because, it's just me, and, I have to figure out everything on my own, sort of. But yeah, it was fun. It was a great trip. I'm glad things, got resolved and talked about certain things and stuff. But yeah, our friendship is pretty close to perfect. Like, we've never had moments where, I don't think we've ever had a moment where it's like, oh, we're never going to be friends ever again. Like, we've never had, like, that friend breaking or that possible cracking moment in our friendship where whatever.
And I'm thinking, like, even if we do ever get to that point where we actually have the fight like that, because I'm not entirely going to rule it out, because there's always going to be something that either one of us aren't going to like and stuff. And
I mean,
but I 100% believe that we're gonna recoup, and we're gonna just evolve from that and just
I mean,
go on
I
from
think
there.
really, I don't really see there being anything like that, honestly, for the foreseeable future, because we've never had that. There probably could have been many times. I mean, I'm not saying like anything could have led up to that per se, but there could have just been opportunities growing up during, middle school or even high school, especially where I like moved away.
Yeah,
So that probably could have been the biggest one, where maybe we just stopped talking and stuff.
but you lived in Wilder at the time, so it wasn't that bad. And then you moved over,
Yeah.
but like we still kept in contact no matter. 'Cause
Yeah, me and him still kept in contact. Like, I mean, I hated it initially because, granted, I moved like 45 minutes farther than where I was. So I was basically like 45 minutes-ish away from, where he was going to school, because I had to move schools. And so I hated it and dreaded it, because I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to hang out with anybody anymore. It's just going to suck. I'm not going to know any. Well, there was one person I actually knew going in. He was actually a teacher that used to teach at the old high school that actually moved there the same year I did. So I thought it was kind of lit that I actually got to see him.
Hey, I was glad that I was able to have him for that 1 year, because then after
yeah.
that 1 year, then we didn't have him anymore.
Oh, yeah, So we won't say his name, but he was our health teacher, and he was also a math teacher for high schoolers. But me and him were kind of really the class chosen, where we were the chosen duo to kind of like help him with things. We kind of became like honestly, we kind of became sort of in a way mini TAs in that class, and we'd rotate every other day because
Except I was the one always sitting in the chair.
yeah, we'd like, he'll have PowerPoints and stuff and slideshows to go through, and a lot of times he'll just, he'll need like one person. And, me and Vince would always just go up there and just chill. And even during like the exams and stuff, we chilled like next to his desk and stuff most of the time. And we were pretty much like, we honestly just became mini TAs. Like, we would do stuff for him if he needed anything, basically. So
I love that
that's
class
what
so
it
much, bro.
turned out to be.
I love that class so much because he let me eat in that class.
Oh yeah.
I was always damn
laid
loud.
back. Probably one of the most laid back teachers ever. Even at the school I transferred to that he went to, I heard from a lot of people the same thing pretty much, and so like that same laid back vibe. I was like, well, that's cool. And so he's just always been laid back.
Every time for lunch, we would always have chips.
Mm-hmm.
was always
and
fucking loud.
he'd have stuff in his cabinets too.
Yeah.
that people make PB&Js in that class too.
Yeah, and if you like brought your own food, you can.
Did he have a
make
microwave
sandwich.
too?
Yeah, he had a
Yeah,
microwave.
he had like everything in there pretty much. He was like one of the cool teachers everyone would go to, or like he was the kind of the cool. Now there was one incident. I don't know if you remember it, like
I remember
the
that
desk,
incident. I know exactly what you're talking about.
and he just goes and yells.
And everybody was like,
it was when
shocked.
the power was out. The power went out.
Yeah.
Because everyone, was kind of like goofing off, but said person was getting a little too loud, and it wasn't either one of us. We were up there at his desk chilling, and I forgot what we were doing. I think we were just because the power had went out, so a lot of the things teachers had planned kind of just went out the window for that day. So, because I remember going to English, like we just chilled and talked the whole period.
Yeah, the power was out the entire rest of the day.
Yeah.
And we should have been home like a long time ago, but because the whole power's out, you have a certain amount of time before it comes on, and then you
Yeah.
have to go home. And then like even he was like, we should have left already.
Yeah. But yeah, someone had like flipped the desk over somehow, or I didn't even know.
They ran into the desk and it flipped over.
Yeah, and he was in the middle of helping somebody. I actually know who that person was. Helping this person with math homework, and then he just goes off, and it's one of those moments where you kind of had to be there, and me and Vince are kind of sitting there in the corner, like having our pretend popcorn.
I'm still there. I'm still there with my loud house rustling of the chips and shit.
We
We
were
was
like-
always that.
Our eyes kind of popped open. We were just watching in the corner. Me and him were just chilling in the corner, watching it happen. And him just yelling at this almost full voice, just, "Don't you better act better," like sort of stuff like that. Like he was just, it was crazy because
It was like out of the
it
blue.
was kind of
Because
funny after. but-
he's the type of teacher that you wouldn't expect that to
Oh
come
yeah,
out of.
you didn't think he could, or
I mean, he was
you
the-
know he could, but he just never really did because no one ever did anything to get to that point. But someone dipshit decided to do that, flip the desk over basically, and yeah, he just kind of went off the rails for like a minute.
Yeah, I mean, and then it was up to us.
funny.
We cooled down the class a little bit. You know, the rustling of my chips because I was always fucking loud eating the damn chips.
Yeah,
And it was like as soon as it stopped and it was dead silent and just back to rustling my chips and everybody started laughing after that. It was great.
yeah, it went back to normal after. I mean, it was awkward for just probably about like 10-20 seconds even after because it kind of got quiet, but then everyone just kind of went back to doing their own thing. And yeah, I remember that. That was funny. But yeah, he was cool. But it sucked when I had to move because it was one of those things where I grew up thinking, I'm never going to move. I'm never going to move. I'm going to be at this school. You know, I'm going to graduate at this school. Yada, yada, is everything. Nope. Life has its own plans, and that's why they always say life is unexpected. That is probably the most true statement ever that could ever be said, is life is incredibly unexpected.
Yeah, like every time I get injured, you know, number one thing that I always said was shit happens.
Yeah.
I mean, like I can't really do anything about it. I mean, there's one time where I had something to do about it, but that was like that was all my fault, really.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so in track and field, freshman year, it was at a meet in Middleton, and it was like raining really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot my sweats. So I had to warm up in jeans, and that was a terrible idea. I ended up, I don't know what I did to my hamstring. I don't remember what they told me. It was like you either pulled it really bad or you tore it just a little bit. It was like hard to walk. It was hard to like run. I mean, like
Yeah.
walking wasn't as bad as it is like with my knees right now,
Yeah.
but it was like fucking like hard. Like it was like obvious that I was hurting. It was like a limp every time I walked.
Yeah.
But it was like the worst and stupidest idea I've ever done. I should have just
Yeah.
went inside and just warmed up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, after I got hurt, I was talking to one of the seniors there, and I was like, you know, shit happens. I knew this was gonna happen. It's my freshman year and stuff.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah, it's, I don't know, like, I've never had injuries. Well, at least I can remember. But,
I've had so many, man.
there was one that I just know it's kind of my most infamous,
I love this story.
my most famous story. And it was when I was 3, and obviously I don't remember this. This is before I basically gained, you know, cognitive memory functions.
For
but-
context, his mom told him the story.
Yeah. Basically, I was kind of told this and kind of put pieces together and sort of figured it out, like what the story is from there. But so this is when this is when our family lived across the old school I used to go to. This is when we lived like right across. And it was a house they had, because we moved a couple times after that, but we stayed in the relative area. Anyway, I don't remember. I don't even know what the day was like, but, you know, basically my mom was doing laundry. My dad was off doing something, I think running errands or something. And I was just chilling in the living room, messing around, playing around, you know, probably playing with toys or whatever.
You know how like little kids do.
Yeah, just being a little kid, just fucking around. And then I think my mom had a line of sight on me from her bedroom. And so she could still see me, so she was kind of keeping an eye on me, but she was just doing laundry, and so, so I apparently had the bright idea to, wrap a blanket around my neck, like basically go into like superhero mode, and get on top of a couch, and all of a sudden. And we had a big couch. I don't know how big it was, but then again, I don't know how little or big my 3 years old self was, but I was probably little, and so obviously being young, still your bones are still more fragile than like now, for instance. I get on top of the couch, and I'm like at the absolute tip, the highest point of the couch I could possibly be, without having to tip the back over, and I make a huge leap. Put my fist in the air forward and jump and just scream, "I'm Superman!"
Oh, that's my favorite part of the story.
And then I landed on my my right leg like wrong or something. Like I just landed awkwardly, and it caused a spiral fracture up my leg from my ankle to my leg. And I was screaming bloody murder, like ah! Like high pitched screaming, a little kid scream, just bloody murder. My mom's like, "What? Why'd you do that?" And I kept being like, "No more superhero, no more superhero, no more Superman." And I'm like, and I had a cast. I got a cast on it. Got it looked at, X-rayed, and whatever they did. I had people sign it. And it was like a pink cast, but yeah. Basically, I just know at that point never to become Superman ever again. That was from the moment on. I never wanted to be an actual superhero because I just would break my bones. So I've broken one bone, but I don't even remember breaking it. But yeah, I spiral fractured my right leg when I was 3, apparently.
The only thing I've ever done, like fractured wise, because that's the only thing I've ever done, was fractured my wrist snowboarding in middle school.
Oh, I remember that.
Like everybody, nobody like knew that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this story on this podcast.
Yeah, because you had a cast or something on your wrist.
I was in a sling,
and then
I had a cast.
Yeah,
it was a blue cast.
I remember that actually. So I remember you mentioned you were going on the trip. And I was like, have fun, whatever. And you came back in a sling. I think you were gone. Were you gone?
No.
You just came right back with a sling, pretty much.
No, almost like the next day, but it was like Thursday when we did this.
Yeah.
And then Friday I went in, got X-rays. They're like, "Yep, you fractured it."
When was this? Like what?
This was
Was it
5th or 6th grade.
I swear it was like 7th or 8th.
No. You know how I know?
I think it was
because I was
6th.
dating a girl at the time.
Yeah,
I wasn't dating anybody when I fractured my wrist.
6th.
Yeah.
I don't think it was 5th. It was 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went. I got on the bus and I was showing everybody that my wrist was fucking swollen as shit. Like it swell up really bad. I took it like a champ.
Yeah.
Because like I finished the snowboarding day after that.
Yeah.
I talked about. I was like, damn, that kind of hurt, but kept going. And then I didn't know, and I was texting my mom, telling her like, man, my wrist hurts really bad.
Yeah.
It's swollen. And then she was like, "We'll have your dad check it," because my dad he wasn't the best dad, but he knew what he was doing when it came to like medical shit because he was a medic in fucking the military.
Yeah.
So he was really good with all that stuff. Like he could have been a nurse or a doctor when he got out.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Shit happens. Not gonna get into that.
Yeah.
And he looked at it and he was like, "You probably broke it." I was like, "Well, I can still fucking move it." And I was like, "I can still like move it, but it didn't hurt to move. It just felt swollen." So I was like, "Oh, it probably just bruised." And they're like, my dad was like, "Let's go get it X-rayed."
Yeah.
So me and him went to go get it X-rayed the next day. Because it was like Thursday we went to go do it, and then we came back, and then like Thursday night, it was like 11 by the time we got back. And then like, because I remember it was like really dark. Granted, it was
I
also.
remember this. Yeah, you came and showed us. Because I remember you came and showed us, and you showed your wrist, and you were moving it, and you were telling us you didn't know whether it was actually broken or not, and you said you were gonna go get an X-ray and stuff. So I remember you coming straight to like me and whoever else.
Yeah, because it was on the bus. It was in the back of the bus because we were the cool kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was talking to everybody in the back of the bus, like even like the popular kids and stuff. I was showing everybody like, oh look, because there was another kid that like broke his ankle or broke his leg.
Yeah.
I don't remember. And you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
and then like there was like 2 other people that like broke something, but like they got like stretched out of there.
God, I swear, every ski snowboarding trip, I swear, if it wasn't everyone, it was every other one. Someone always broke something, or sprained something, or injured something. Oh my god.
After like the injuries, after like the whole everybody got injured, they stopped doing that.
Yep.
I mean, they do it now. I think if they do it now, but like they took a break with our class because of that.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in a sling the next day, and everybody was like, "What happened?" It's like, well, so you know how I showed you all that it was swollen? Apparently, it was fractured.
Yeah. Yep. I remember, and then that's when you came back the next day or the next day after with the sling, and that's when you told us, and I was like, yeah,
Everybody was like,
that makes sense.
"You broke something?" It's like, apparently.
Yeah.
And everyone was surprised. Everybody was helping me. And I was like, thank goodness it was on my left arm, because if it was my right arm, I would be screwed.
Yep.
Because I wasn't able. If that was the case, I wouldn't be able to write. I wouldn't be able to do certain things. I remember coming back, and even though in the sling we were playing bump like before, because it was track, like spring, so we were doing, going out to the track and doing track stuff.
Yeah.
We had the mile that day, and we went in there. We did basketball, and we were playing bump. And I was there one-handed. And I was creaming people still. And then like I got out of the mile for doing that. Like, what if I fall? He's like, okay, fine. You don't have to do the mile. And then after that, I went to play bump again. And he was like, get out. You can't play bump. What if the ball hits you in the arm? And I was like, oh, touche.
Yeah,
touche. It was the only mile I ever got out of. Because I had a good mile. Like I think my fastest mile ever, like middle school and high school, would be like a 6:15, I believe. It was in the 6 range. It wasn't like top tier.
Yeah, it was one of the best miles.
Yeah, it was like definitely top 10.
What's his name? He always had number 1.
It starts with an I, ends with the H.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
It was someone else.
Mm-mm.
For a while, at least.
I mean, before he came into our class, it was J and E. Starts with the J, ends with the E.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who had the best mile, and then the other guy came, and then he took over that.
Oh. Okay,
before he got bumped up to the next grade.
Yeah, before he left us all.
Yeah.
That was sad.
Oh, I had a bad falling out with him.
Actually, my mom found a letter. Apparently, he wrote to me, like, I think back in 3rd and 4th grade, about some of it. You could tell the language still wasn't quite as translucent as it now. So, his English was still not the very best.
Yeah, for context, this guy was from Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, he got moved up because partially age, and he was too smart for the grade, basically. So he just got moved up to where he needed to be. But yeah, he was friends with all of us. He was one of those that was definitely, like, at least at that time, was friends with pretty much everybody. And so
yeah, and then before he moved up, because at the time, okay, so he's obviously black, African American, if you will. At the time, I called everybody poop. I'm gonna put this story out there. He ends up seeing this someday. Hi. So yeah, I called him poop, and I called everybody poop at the time. I called everybody poop. This is before I started cussing and shit. Because if I was like me cussing, I'd be like, you shithead.
yeah.
But like, I guess he found that very offensive. He's like, is it because I'm black? And then he's like, get out of my face, get out of my face. And I was like, what just happened? And then we just had a falling out. Like, every time we saw each other, like, we like didn't like each other. I was like, well, I don't know why he don't like me, but just because he don't like me, I don't like him.
Yeah.
And then eventually we ended up talking, and I told him, I call everybody that, and I apologize if that offended you, but I call everybody that. And then he was like, oh, and stuff, and then we just got back together as friends and stuff. So at least we recuperated. Like, even though I still talk to him sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I shoot him a random text, see how he's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Growing up, friend group was pretty good.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be our longer episode.
Yeah, this might be a little longer of an episode, which is fine. But yeah, growing up, I was probably just your average kid. I never was. My first phone. Now I always try to reiterate this to people because I think it's just the concept bogs people's minds, but I was not at all like a rich kid or like a very privileged kid. Now, my first phone, and this is just because my dad was in the military, he brought in quite a bit of money, so my mom honestly didn't even have to work. She took care of us and stuff. We still, were disciplined, we had chores, had to be in bed a certain time for a long time growing up. Limits on video games.
Yeah. Who didn't? I mean, if you didn't,
Yeah.
then you were like one of those kids that were super smart at a young age.
But I grew up probably privileged in some ways, more privileged, but not necessarily like it still wasn't perfect. Like
More privileged than I was.
yeah,
Lucky
but
bastard.
I just think like comparing it with Vince, I just know, and I know this just because I've known him, he hadn't had, the greatest,
Yeah, we were like dirt
terms
poor.
of childhood.
Yeah, we were like dirt poor. We weren't allowed to go outside because
Yeah.
that was because of my dad and whatever.
I would say our family, in terms of like at that time at least, it's a bit different now because our family's kind of broken apart right now. That's a lot of other stories for another time. But I'd say then when everything was stable, we were pretty much like an average, like middle class. I don't know how to describe it because it can mean many different things, but we were good enough for where we were at. We had a home. My dad was just working, and I think my mom eventually just worked just so she could not be bored. But it was just one of those things where I grew up. We had some extra money sometimes where we would buy. My parents would like buy stuff or whatever. But yeah, we were never like we never were rich at all. Like my dad. They made just enough to cover everything, all of our living expenses, and we would have some money left over, but we'd still have to be kind of careful with it. So we were just well off enough, and I think that's where a little extra saving, especially with my mom doing a lot of that stuff too, kind of gave me the ability to my first device, like my first phone-ish device, because it's not technically a phone, but it was an iPod Touch 4th generation. I got it for Christmas in 2nd grade, and the first game I got on it was Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies at the time.
Oh man, I missed that game. You can't get it on App Store anymore. It's so sad.
So many of those games you can't get, and it sucks. And I have that iPod somewhere too. I think if I find the old charger, there's so much old stuff I could get access to. I don't know where it is. And I don't know. I know I have chargers sitting somewhere, but it's in our storage unit somewhere. But yeah, it's somewhere. It has a cracked through its screen. Like it's seen some stuff.
I'll be right back.
That's fine. Yeah, a little intermission on my host side. He's got to do something really quick. But basically, to explain to you guys, I never was rich growing up. Never was upper class. I never felt I was upper class, but it was a thing where I did grow up with enough discipline to know to not be spoiled, to not feel like I was spoiled, to not maybe to some people I was, but it was one of those things where, like I said, I had chores I still had to do. I still had limits on a lot of stuff. But it came to a point where, my family got really good at saving money and stuff. And, we just sometimes would just buy ourselves things, or they would buy us things. And so, like, I remember probably when I turned 13, my mom sat me down and it was like this. We don't have to limit you on video games anymore. Because my mom's whole thing was, as long as I was still doing good in school, as long as I felt I was going to bed at a decent time, she pretty much got rid of, chores I still had to do, pretty much. I always still had to do that, no matter what. But she got rid of my bedtime limit, because I did have a bedtime, and it usually was like 9:30 to 10. 10 was in my latter years of that ruling before she got rid of it completely. But it was like 13, 14. She sat me down and was like, I felt like, I've she was honest, I felt like you've grown up to be you are growing up to be a good kid. She's like, I know that you work hard for a lot of the stuff you do. And so I was still getting good grades in school, still am, because I'm in college now. But she basically just got rid of my bedtime restriction. Like, said, if you want to go to bed later, you can go to bed later, basically, is what she told me. But as long as your school grades are kept up, as long as you're doing what you need to do, I'll allow you to play video games as long as you want. She basically just unrestricted a lot of that for me. And it felt nice, because I felt like, okay, I had a little bit more freedom to do stuff and enjoy more things outside of just school. And so it felt relieving, because it felt like it almost felt like I felt like, just like I could have more fun as a kid. And so like I said, I never grew up with I'm not saying my life was perfect. It was not perfect. There was a lot of issues and stuff we even dealt with as a family. But she just got rid of, like I said, she sat me down and was like, as long as you're doing good in school, as long as your grades are kept up really well, as long as you feel like you're not hindering on your performance, I'll allow you to play video games as long as you want. You could stay up whenever you want, as long as when you get tired. And it was probably,
I'm back. Sorry, I had to pee.
Yeah. It was when I was like 13 to 14 is when she kind of just had that talk with me. And basically, yeah. And, I was grown up enough to where I knew not to answer the door. So times where I'd be left home alone, they'd be fine with leaving me home alone if I just lock the door and don't answer to strangers, basically, as that was always the rule in our house. In every house it should be, but it's like a common rule, don't answer a door to a stranger. But yeah, like I said, I never grew up as like I said, even our family wasn't perfect. I had a lot of issues, but I definitely felt like at that moment I felt more free as a kid, where I could go and do more things now, like play video games a lot longer, have more fun and stuff. I know the rule still was I can only have friends over on the weekends in terms of staying the night. But I know,
unless it was like vacation, like Christmas break or
if
something.
If it was like Christmas break or something, that rule would change, obviously. But that rule pretty much stuck for a good long while, for as long as we lived at that place, pretty much. And was still allowed to have friends over on like weekdays, but
can't spend the night.
Couldn't spend the night.
Because not only that, also the other kids, including myself, when I was finally able to go over, we could go over during the week. It's just school night, basically.
You have to be back by a certain time. You gotta be in bed. But yeah, that made sense. That was always the rule. But my mom pretty much got to a point with me where she knew I was still doing good, and she's like, okay, well, I'll just get rid of your bedtime stuff and your video game limit. But it's like, as long as you're doing fine, I don't really care what you're doing, basically. And it kind of felt nice.
Yeah, so. I remember that for the first time ever too. For myself, it was when I was turned 12. I mean, I've always been a smart kid. I just never saw the point in trying in school, because it was just came to me naturally. So it was like, oh, pass this, A+, boom. around 12, like we're in middle school at this time. Straight A's, perfect attendance too. Mom was like, okay, you're perfect attendance. You have perfect grades. I don't care what you do, as long as it doesn't affect you at school, just like how your mom did.
Yeah.
Stay up as long as you want, obviously, but like once it was like 10, be in your room.
Yeah.
I don't care how long you stay up, just be in your room, in bed at least, or at least just be in your room.
Yeah.
And I'd be up playing video games, and we lived at my old house before this apartment, and then before the other house that I lived in at the time, which was my grandma's. We just inherited it after she passed. I shared the room with my older brother, and then eventually my younger brother joined us after my little sister was born. But me and him, like, since we were older and we knew what we were doing, and I had perfect grades, perfect attendance, and he also had, I think he had good grades, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
We stayed up. If we weren't playing video games on our Xbox that we barely got through almost to the end of the 360 lifestyle.
Yeah.
Lifestyle. I don't know what I was thinking there.
360 era.
Yeah. If we weren't on the Xbox, we were just laying there talking. Like, we would just lay there, lights off, eyes closed, and it was hot. So
Now, here's something I hated. So it was pretty much after that, or it was probably a year or two after that. I can't remember when. Basically, maybe even before. I don't know, but because I know it was like 12. I'm pretty sure we had a similar age. Like, I think that's pretty much when both of our moms kind of gave us both our separate discussions. Was 12 or I can't remember when mine was, but it was somewhere like 12 or 13 is when I got that discussion about staying up now that. You know whose family I'm talking about? I'd go over. I became friends with him and his brothers and the little sisters.
hold on, mute real quick so we can.
I would go over to their house, and they still had these dumb rules in place that we had gotten rid of, basically. So this bugged me because I'm a guest, but I understand. But so, like,
And they had these rules even on the weekend too.
for instance, to me it felt kind of dumb, but I guess I understood it where they were coming from because they were a lot more. So this family. They're like a second family to me, basically. You know,
They're like
I've
fifth
gotten
or
to know
sixth
them.
for me, but whatever.
I've gotten to know them really close. I became friends with, all of them. Got to know them. I basically became like a brother from another mother, and I even looked like them to some degree. And so, still, sort of, but it was one of those things where I'd go over on like a Friday, for instance. And, all the brothers, they were in their own room. Like, I know, like, every time I went to their house, it would change. Something was different. Like, the beds were laid out differently. They had, a new carpet or something.
Yeah.
Like, new paint. Like, there was something new every time. I swear they never kept anything the same for the longest time. I think it's still that way. But
We should definitely go over there one day.
yeah, I know they. He hit me up and was like, and I think MP once hit me up too and was like, "You just come over sometime." I'm like, "Yeah, probably. I probably will." I think me and you should go do that one of these days soon.
Yeah, just an old visit. New visit, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, but I think now they're a lot laid back on those rules. Maybe not for the girls as much, but
I mean, they are still young.
I know for the only boy who's really left in that house who's still in high school and stuff. I think they kind of lax those rules as soon as we all
Yeah, me,
graduated.
you, and
B.
yeah, we all.
And so I know I go over now, like, I don't think he has a bedtime or, you know, he knows the password to his computer. Like, for the longest time, they actually had to ask for permission. Like, anytime they wanted to go on the computer, they had to ask for the password. They didn't even know the password. Obviously, one of them found out through someone else, and they just kind of, computer's been on the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about kind of thing. But, curfew still, even on the weekends, which bugged the heck out of me.
Except when I went over. That was the weirdest thing.
Even when I went over, they would always be like, all right.
And then it was only when you invited,
bedtime.
until you started inviting me, that's when they stopped. Well,
Yeah.
they stopped when I was there.
And it was just the strangest thing because I'm like, you're doing this on a weekend. The weekend, I for me, makes sense. Like, you should at least be able to stay up a lot longer. But no, they pretty much had a set curfew even on the weekend. And the video games... But like I said, I see where they're coming from. They're more of a working family in terms of, like, getting, you know... They live out more in the countryside of where we lived.
Yeah, I mean,
So it was like...
it was. I wouldn't say it was more countryside. I mean, technically,
Where
all
they
of
were
it was
at,
country.
there was a lot more countryside aspects, like farming especially. Like, they, you know, property bit, like...
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
okay, okay.
constantly
Okay.
build stuff on their property and, you know,
Excuse me. Shoot.
did stuff with cart. Like, they were pretty much a labor-heavy sort of, like, at least group of kids and stuff. Like, I know every time I go over, they'd have chore lists and stuff. You know, go out and do this, go outside and do this, mow the lawn or mow the backyard. And, you know, like I said, that's where, like, every time I went over, there was something new about that place. They either added something, took something out, changed something. Like, literally, there was not one time, even now, I not went over and something was different. So I would have a picture in my mind of what it looked like before, and then I go there, a new table, or like a new something. I was like, it was so weird, but I was like, okay.
I remember because like
Sound
when
like, bro.
we'd play video games, like when we used to play religiously, you'd be over there and you'd be playing, and then you'd have to get off or you had to be at least quiet
Yeah.
because they had to go to sleep. And then whenever I went over, because like they were still doing that,
Yeah.
but when I went over, like they didn't have to for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was all about. I don't know if they told you anything about that.
I know.
But like when I didn't show up, the curfew was there.
I think maybe it could have also been coincidental.
It probably
there
was.
were times, I will say, it wasn't always like that either. There were times even when I'd go over and it'd be more laxed. Like, a lot of times the mom would actually let them just stay up longer, do stuff longer, and so it was kind of the dad that really had all that stuff more enforced. But I know at some point, I can't remember when, maybe it was sometime in high school, it was definitely well into when I moved in the war. I'd go over there and they no longer had those stuff anymore. So I don't know when they changed all that, but yeah, I just know for at least a good long while when I was getting to know them all and stuff, it'd just be curfew stuff, same thing. I'm like, this is stupid, but yeah, now they're lax about it now. I don't think they give two shits anymore.
For the boys,
They
anyways.
just waited a lot longer. Yeah, for the boys anyway.
Girls had to go to
I'm pretty
sleep.
sure the other two, yeah, they have all that stuff still. But it's crazy how time flies.
Yeah,
It's crazy
it-
how many things change.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten more injuries since I've been in school and stuff.
Yeah, now I go to college.
I just
Um,
work.
I work too. I'm a So here's a little college history for you guys about me. So I attend the College of Idaho, which is out in Caldwell. And I originally was going to be a computer science major because I had taken a bunch of... When I moved to my new school, they actually had a lot more classes I could take than our old school did. And I was like, okay. My mom, I was still a band kid when I was at our old school, but after I moved there, I told my mom, I was like, I don't know if I want to do band anymore. So I have all these other classes that I kind of want to do. And she was a little hesitant, like, oh, you should still do it. I'm like, no. Like, if I were to take computer science and cybersecurity, there is no way I'm taking band. I would not have time for that. She's like, okay. So, and then we're in the process of getting my saxophone sold, and she's just going to keep all the money because, they kind of got it for me in the first place. But, basically,
was always interested in computers. I still am. Like, that stuff has never went away per se, but I guess it's changed my perception and what I could actually do with that kind of stuff. I'm probably more, now that I think about it, I'm probably more proficient on the hardware side of things. Like, honestly, if I could get a job where I maybe like continue maybe practicing building computers, I could totally do a job where I like do stuff, hardware related things, not necessarily coding things. Because now I think about it, I don't think coding maybe was all that. I was always attuned for just coding. Because I know I did struggle quite a bit, especially during senior year, doing an AP computer science course, like the full-blown one, which is basically the equivalent to an entry-level college course. Because there was Exploring Computer Science sophomore year, usually it's how it goes, sophomore, junior, senior. Exploring Computer Science was the absolute basic, like, learning class for coding. Then we had AP Computer Science Principles, which I actually had a different teacher for, which kind of probably is what threw me off for senior year. And it was basically getting into the more a little complicated, like more lengthy code. Like, okay, you know, we're exploring some more advanced concepts here. And then AP Computer Science is where it's like, okay, you're actually doing a lot more coding. You're not doing any of this block crap where you do block coding on like these websites and just kind of stick the blocks in spots.
Like the Minecraft decoding.
Yeah, that's sort of what Principles was more about. It was getting you used to the concepts, but you weren't quite relying on doing a whole ton of code by yourself yet. And now we were getting into looping, you know, algorithmic sequencing. There's a lot of other stuff. We used JavaScript is what they used, because I know not every school is actually the same with that. And so I struggled, but I passed. You know, it was a fun course. I took the AP exam. You know, I think I scored like a 2, which wasn't the worst thing you could have scored. It was a lot better than I thought it'd be, but it wasn't a 3 or 4. And so 3 or 4 could basically 3 could possibly get you credit. It's still not guaranteed for like a college credit, basically. 4, you're almost pretty much guaranteed a college credit for that course. So meaning you could probably just skip the entry-level course. Our teacher recommended us not doing that because not every college uses the same programming language. C of I uses Python for their entry level. We never used Python. So that's why he was always telling us, like, I hate to break it to you, but you're still going to probably have to retake this course. If you do earn the college credit, you probably don't have to, but it's recommended because you're going to learn sort of the same things, but also relearn it in a new way with the different, because not every programming language is the same.
Yeah.
They're all different for a reason. And so I just think the more time went on, and when I was looking at my degree, because it's a bachelor's degree, that's the degree mark for doing 4 years at C of I. And there's like 5 or 6. I think there's a 5th year option. I know my roommate is doing like a 5-year accounting majors thing, something like that. So he's probably gonna get, I think, a master's, because I think that's what I think that the 5-year plans aim to get masters. I'm not sure on that, but I do think you end up walking away with extra technically. But so originally it was going to be a computer science bachelor's degree. That was the plan. And I had data science as a specialization, and you know, a couple of my minors have stayed the same, but I was like, okay, you know, computer science. And as soon as I was looking at all the math, because I'm gonna be honest, I fucking hate math. I don't like math. I'm probably the best in terms of me and my other sibling, my sister. Definitely better at math than her. I'd always did at least a lot better in a lot of aspects than her. Still was not the greatest either, but I definitely did a lot better than her. And
see, like I love math.
Yeah.
I think out of all of us kids, because there's 6 kids my mom had, I think I'm the best one at math.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm the best at math. I mean, I'm not
very proficient,
but I'm not below average. I'm not average. I'm just above average. I'm not crazy with it.
Yeah, you're not like super freaking nerdy smart on math and everything, but it's like you know, you were never terrible at math.
Yeah,
you were never bad at math.
I don't know what it was about me, because you know, the kids, math, nobody liked math. But I was always, every time in math class, I was like, I love math all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I just never was that great. So I sort of knew going in before, okay, math might be a struggle, but I was looking at just some of the math.
I would have to take like I think 4 math courses, something like that, at like 200, 3 level, and I'm like 300 level, and I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, there's no feasible way I'm gonna survive these 4 years if I continue doing the CS degree. And it kind of sucked because I was like, oh, this is kind of the plan the whole time, but things change. And they always say you go in expecting something for college, like degrees, majors. The average people typically change at least twice their first year.
Yeah, I was going to be a computer engineer. I mean, I'm not in college right now, but I was going to. I was going to college.
Yeah.
I was going to go, but, things happened, and I came back before the year started and whatnot. That's a whole other story for another time. But now that I'm working, I'm saving up to go to college, and instead of being a computer engineer, I mean, I'll probably come back again after I'm done, which I don't know how long that's going to be.
Aren't you doing like fitness related stuff?
No, I'm going to be a traveling nurse eventually, but I'm going to be a nurse.
Oh, health related, okay.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And then, like, if I do, because I've always been like...
Get your CNA, that'd be huge.
Yeah. But I was also thinking, if I'm not going to be a nurse or a traveling nurse, I could definitely be, like, a physical therapist or, basically a physical therapist. Because I being injured so much of my life, basically, I know a lot of things to help with said, like, soreness, stretching for, like, injuries that you need to stretch for and stuff, obviously. Yada, yada, yada. So, in that aspect, I'm like, maybe I should be a physical therapist or a trainer because I know sort of the basics because I was taught by trainers to fix problems, and I've had like all the problems in my legs, so I know everything about the legs. I guess that's just a fortunate thing to happen when you're injured all the damn time.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to know about the upper body. I know a little bit because I've had like a little bit of injuries upper body.
Yeah.
But nothing too crazy. Like not like a torn pec or like a torn bicep or anything like that. Where like, I mean, I have lower back injuries.
Yeah, nothing incredibly crazy.
Yeah, nothing incredibly crazy. And I've had like back problems for like the longest time.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, I'd complain about my back all the time. I mean, and they tell me, you're too young to have back problems. And I'm like...
I get that now because once in a while, so like, past couple... Well, really today, I did something in my back and my lower right kind of has been hurting. But, I mean, it's not like painful.
I got some stretches you can try.
Yeah, I need to do some stretches. I've been contemplating. I just haven't done them. Which I think
Wait, where is it?
It's my lower right. It's actually...
I got a good one for you.
It's actually, and it's funny because it's actually the same area where I actually had my back problems originally because I did have back problems. When was it? It was during sophomore, junior year of high school. I don't know what caused it, but it was like this sort of really minor but like throbbing like pain that
I remember
would
this.
not go away. And
it was sophomore year too.
Yeah, it just kind of felt uncomfortable. Like I'd ignore it most of the time, but there were just times where I'd sit and I swear it like never went away. No matter after a shower, after a bath, it would just never go away. And I was like, what is causing this feeling? Because I didn't know what it was. I knew it was somewhere in the back, but I just didn't know. Now I go to physical therapy. Well, I got a note from doctor saying I gotta go, gave me all the information and all that. And I went for I think a couple weeks. I don't know how much time it was. It was under just about a month, maybe under that. And obviously I'd have to leave class every week at least once, a little early.
Around like
to go.
It was like around like, if I remember, not sixth period. It was like.
It was later. It was cybersecurity. I had to leave early. It was always
at least once a week. You told me that about this stuff because we still hung out at the time.
Yeah, I went, did stuff, worked with this lady, and it helped. It seemed to help, and actually it went away after that. And she was talking about how it was something I might have did to myself, and I maybe unknowingly did it, and it caused like inflammation in the back. And because she was like, I know her initial examination, she was like, the doctor and her sort of came to the same conclusion that they felt there was a muscle in there that was
inflamed for some reason due to something I might have did or lifted or did something wrong, and it just caused inflammation. Maybe me continuing moving in a certain way didn't help, but it was also posture, she said, because that was also during, you know, online and back and forth. So she said that it's a combination of things, and she said it didn't seem to be a big issue. So she said with, you know, we would do exercises and do these things every day to, you know, help with bands and the ball and stretches, and it helped. It actually did. So I felt it was worth it, and so because it went away shortly after, and never had issues since. But yeah.
Speaking of physical therapy, I've only gone once. For all my stuff that I've had in my legs and stuff, I've only gone once, and it was for shin splints. And they were so bad.
Suck.
They were so bad. Like, I swear, like, probably, if I get, like, x-rays for them, I probably have, like, stress fractures there.
I literally remember, this is my fault because I actually wore terrible shoes for a good week for some reason. I think the other shoes I had just blew apart for some reason, or I was way too rough on them. But I wore these, like, really kind of shitty ass shoes for cross country for at least a week. And I remember running, and it was not until like the third day where I actually started feeling like pain in my lower. It started on like my left or right shin area, but then it hit my other leg. Started feeling pain like anytime I'd step. It's like you with your knees. It was like anytime I'd step, just pain. Like I'd walk and it was painful. And
I get that.
What is this? And then I went to the doctor and he said shin splints, and I was like, God damn it.
I mean, for me, for my shin splints, like, it wasn't, like, bad where, like, if I were to walk, it wouldn't hurt. It was every time that I accelerated in speed at all.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're using more force. You're trying to go faster, obviously. And it was to the point where it's like, if I run, I'm going to fall from the pain.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I just, you know, did ice hot stuff, you know, cold, hot bath, shit, ice and warm, whatever, back and forth stuff, you know, healing it. And then I wore better shoes. And I think that's really what really helped. It was the shoes I was wearing were not good for running. It
was my arches for me.
And so, and then they went away shortly after I got the shoes, after I started, you know, stretching and, you know, I think it was a week break from cross country. It got so bad I could not do practice because I would run, and as soon as I start moving at all, it was just pain in my lower part of my feet, the area. It was like, nope, I can't do it. Like I felt like I wanted to cry if I kept running. Like it was so painful. It was like someone was just constantly like stabbing my lower part of my legs. I was like, oh God, I cannot do this. So yeah, I took a break from cross country for they let me rest for like a week, so I didn't have to do any of that. But so going back to the college stuff, so I no longer do cross country, computer science. I'm now a history major. So my major is history. It's a bachelor's degree with minors in journalism, geography, and professional foundations, which is a required one. And then I have specializations in leadership and business. That's the other one. I had to think about that one. But yeah, so it's a lot. You know, I always have doubts, but you know, I'm pretty sure I will graduate. The intended date is May of 2026, so I still got a couple years away, but so I'm a sophomore. I'll be starting my second semester of my sophomore year early this next year when 2024 comes around. But you know, it's definitely going a lot better than I thought it would. You know, there's definitely challenging moments, I will say that. I think this next semester is probably going to be my most challenging one yet, because I'm going to be taking 2 minor required courses and a statistics course and a writing history class, which is like probably one of the most important components for the history major, is it basically gets you to practice researching and writing like proper history papers, which will prepare you for your senior thesis and all this stuff that you have to do. And I'm like, oh God. So that's probably going to be my most challenging semester yet, because my schedule is going to look so whack too. It already looks whack just looking at it, but yeah, it's going good. Like I said, college is very challenging, and it is a private liberal arts college, so the acceptance rate's not incredibly too high. Actually, let me look up. I'll look it up right now for you folks.
Yeah, I know it's not that high. I mean, it's not crazy high.
It's the lowest out of any college in Idaho.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I know that.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say 47%.
I think that's what it was when I actually applied.
I think it went up too.
56. Yeah, it went up. I think it was after the year I started. It went up slightly because I think they want to get a little bit more people in. Oh, no. It says 46%. usnews.com.
No, I was close.
It's 40. We'll just say 46 to like 56. Obviously acceptance rates vary. It's very varied for a lot of reasons. Like, it's not entirely accurate, but yeah, it's not a cheap school either. But I luckily was fortunate enough to get a lot of scholarships where I'm not having to pay as much as I thought I would out of pocket, and so it's a good school. You look at like BSU. There's like over 20,000 plus students that go there, fully enrolled. And I think that's combining online and in person.
Excuse me.
That's like 20,000. It's like, holy shit. There's only like barely over, just under 1,100 that go to C of I that are enrolled at that school.
Damn.
That's literally that. Like, BSU is like 20 times the amount of students. It's like, and that goes for a lot of the other schools. U of I think has like 15,000.
I'm pretty sure I think I last checked, it was like 17, and then after the whole spiel that happened up there, it dropped to like 14.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there was a
murder.
I'm pretty sure because it made national news, but yeah, it was a murder of 4 college students that occurred, and we know some people. Fortunately, none of them, I don't think, were ever really close.
No.
With those people at all. So, but it was one of those things that kind of scared us just a little bit because, we know friends that are there. So it's like when it happened immediately, it was like, oh my God, what?
Check on everybody.
Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, is everybody all right? Everybody okay?
And obviously it's a case that's still going on, which still shocks me, but I know I think they got this guy,
Yeah, he's. I think he's been charged. And I think that case is closed. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it's either closed or it's like they're on the cusp of closing it.
I'll probably just look it up after this and then shoot you a text telling you, it's closed or it's not. It's still open.
But yeah. But I like C of I. I had a bunch of choices, actually. I applied to many schools and got accepted to many. And I actually was planning on going to Texas. I know that was what I was telling everybody for a while was, I want to go to Texas. And then kind of the more I got close to really figuring it out, which was spring of senior year, was when I was like, nah, Texas isn't going to do it. I don't want to move that far away. And it would have been, I think, Houston or Dallas. I think it was Dallas was where I was aiming. I just would have lost my goddamn mind if I would have moved there, driving there. Move out of my fucking way! Like, constantly.
Yeah.
I
would have loved to go out of state. If I went out of state, I definitely would still be over there right now.
Texas is a great place.
But the fact that it's just everywhere else, like, if you're out of state and you're going there, it's so expensive. And, you know me, I'm poor.
I know when we went to Vancouver and stuff, like, it is fucking crazy how packed and just big and bustling
and how I was the only Mexican there.
That city is just huge. Like, it makes Boise and the whole Treasure Valley look fucking tiny.
And I was the only burrito there.
Yeah. Basically, at least the thing we've gathered, at least while we were over there for the 5 days, is there is not that, at least on the surface, there is not that many Mexicans where we were, which is kind of sad, but I guess it.
I was literally the attraction walking on the street, bro. It was annoying.
We had this incident where we were in an elevator.
Okay, I got this.
Yeah,
I got this. Okay. So, a lot of people tell me I look like Tyler Posey. I don't. I really don't.
I think he does.
I don't. Anyways, and we were getting on this elevator to go up to our room because we were in a hotel, and I think we just got out of the pool and stuff, and we were headed back up. Or no, we were heading down to go somewhere. That's right. We were going down to go somewhere, and we're in the elevator, and this chick gets on, and she looks at me, looks at Nick, and then looks back at me, and tells Nick, basically, is like, I think I know him. I think I've seen him somewhere before. And I was like,
Vince are like,
what?
who is this?
I was like, I've never met this fucking person in my entire fucking
Some
life.
random girl just.
And I was like, what the fuck?
We were like,
I was like, cool.
what?
I said cool, and then I don't think you said anything.
I didn't say anything because I was kind of looking at him like,
I was like, I don't.
Do you know her?
I've never seen this. And then after she got off, I was like, Nick.
Yeah, we both
I've
like,
never
what
seen
the fuck
that
was
person in my entire fucking life.
I didn't know who she was. She was just some random. Probably looked like somebody. Maybe she knew. So I don't know.
And then I was just like, you know what? After we got into our room and stuff, and I was like thinking about it still, I was like, I bet you she thinks I look like Tyler Posey.
Yeah. That's probably what it is, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I don't. Maybe that's why I was like the attraction, because I looked like Tyler Posey or something. I don't know.
I think you do personally.
I
I'm
don't.
on that
I mean,
train.
maybe
think
certain pictures, possibly.
You shaved all your facial hair. You cut your hair in a certain way, and you you wear the clothes, get in the pose, and maybe not 100% accurate, but 85%. You definitely would 85% match with him in terms of like almost looking exactly alike.
When we get cameras, well,
Next
y'all can
episode should be
judge.
cameras. Oh. And yeah, we're gonna end this episode here soon because it's gonna it's going a little lot longer than I thought it would.
We're an hour 30 minutes in.
But
so.
Yeah. So the next episode,
we will have cameras,
yes,
and
we're gonna have. So this next episode might be. So this episode took a while to record and upload. Maybe depends on how long this takes. We're recording this on November 5th at 9:17 p.m. So just keep that in mind.
yeah.
But the next episode might take a little longer to get out, or at least to even just start recording, because we're just trying to figure out.
I gotta buy a camera. We gotta buy another mic still.
We gotta get another. I think I'll just end up getting the other mic. I'll probably just get one of these. Another one.
Well,
of these.
I can get the mic because I get money the 9th.
But I think I could use my camera that I use for my computer.
Mhm.
I think what I want to do is I want to have it like set up somehow, because I think that one we might have to do it in a different location.
Oh, we're definitely gonna have to, because I'm not bringing. Well,
Yeah,
unless it's somebody I know.
Yeah.
And I trust.
Yeah. No.
Then
Yeah, we'll figure out location later, but I definitely want to. I think what we'll do is I thought about it more. It's like, no, we don't really need cameras for each one of us. I mean, that if in a super advanced stage, that'd be cool. But I think for at least a long time, even now,
We just
it'd
need
honestly
one.
be due if we just have one and just have all three of us and even two of us when we're doing the episodes, just
Mhm.
just filming us talking. I think that's fine. And so
And then hopefully by then I'll have a little table here for this little setup
Yeah.
that we have here on my balcony.
So the next episode, there is definitely going to be changes in terms of the visual aspect, because you'll actually see people, us. So,
Yeah, you'll see us. Depending on what we do, we might have 2 cameras. Probably not.
But what's going to happen is, at least the next episode, we're going to have a camera showing us and the guests, and then it's just going to be an open discussion,
And
whatever
and
pops up.
since this one's like an hour and like 30 minutes,
Yeah.
almost 35 here, we're probably gonna try to push it to be like an hour, a little longer, so like probably like 2 hours.
It's probably going to be just a little under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Probably 2 hours, so it might be a long episode, but yeah, we just got to get in contact with people, or at least see who we think
Who's
would be good.
available, certain days that we're
Yeah,
able to do it together.
It's like I said, it's probably going to be a minute before that episode. It's probably going to be, honestly, a couple weeks before that episode is uploaded. But yeah, just having you guys look forward to that. But
Yeah,
I think we've had this is a good discussion today. I mean, there's a lot more we could have covered.
yeah,
I know
but
we sort of just stopped briefly on it and just mentioned this next episode. But yeah, I don't want
This episode is going to take forever to upload.
Yeah, we
so.
kind of jumped the gun almost
But
a little bit.
basically, that the whole point of this was just kind of get more of an insight of us as people, events, past events, our friendship, injuries, mainly for Burrito.
You
And
asshole.
then, yeah, we could have gone a lot longer, but yeah, we just wanted to not push this episode much longer, but we just kind of wanted to tell you guys about the next episode to end this off and sort of what you could look forward to. It's still not going to be the greatest thing ever. It's going to be scuffed still.
But that's what we
But
do
it'll
over
be
here
an
in Snow.
improvement.
That's what we do over here in Snowball Burrito. We're scuffed as shit.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, look out for episode 5 when that comes out. I'll be sure to get this video uploaded probably, hopefully, by the 8th. So, in maybe 3 days. But,
And then on the 9th,
Yeah.
I don't remember what that day is. I'm pretty sure it's a weekend. We're going to go Mike hunting for Mike, obviously.
yeah.
And then we'll discuss on the way up there who's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Me.
You could always split it, too.
Yeah, we could always split it.
Just to keep it even.
Because this is going to be our thing. So it'd be better to split it.
Yeah, I think
so
we
let's
could
just
split
I
the-
think we're just going to safely say that we're going to split
just
it.
so we both could.
Put money towards
Yeah.
this. Because
Yeah.
this started off like a little small project, just something we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Try something new.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we are enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
It's definitely a lot of fun.
before we were made videos together, obviously. But I think this is
Yeah.
the most fun that we've actually had doing something.
Yeah, I think this is a nice refreshment in doing stuff together, number one, and to kind of just have something to sort of look forward to and to, talk about things, get things out there, just be honest, be, upfront about things, discuss issues, discuss things, and really just be the most scuffed, open, and honest podcast. But
Yeah.
it's...
And if we sponsor us, please. We
Please.
need the money.
Please. But yeah, it's a fun experience, and it's continued to be fun. At least just to be able to talk into mics and stuff, and to actually feel like we're at least talking to some people that do end up watching it. But like I said, like we both sort of said, it's not going to be anywhere towards perfect. Like we both said pretty much over and over, it's scuffed. It's going to be scuffed for at least a long while, and so, but it's only just in the progression of things that things will improve, and maybe discussions will become more tight, and subjects will become easier to grasp, and conversation will be easier to go back and forth on, and to but yeah, it's an ever-changing thing.
Yeah, and then you're gonna obviously see it, have episodes of us. We're probably gonna be online together sometime because one of us is gonna get sick.
Yeah, there's probably once in a while, depending on things, or maybe even depending on how we're both feeling.
Who knows? He
there might
doesn't. He probably won't have. You probably won't want to come over sometime, and you're gonna be like, "No, just do it over online."
Yeah, I think if we both come to a decision where maybe we'll be fine with doing an episode fully online, then that's gonna be fine. And even then, hopefully we'll have the capture the cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure that out when that time comes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
This is
episode 4.
Episode 4. Stay tuned for 3.5. Whenever, if you probably will see
there
that before.
So there
we
was
get
a
this.
mini sort of half of an episode we did record before this one, about 2 weeks, over 2 weeks ago, but due to some circumstances, it probably won't see the light of day, or at least
We'll talk more about that.
yeah, basically, to summarize it, it was Apple versus Android was the whole idea. It was sort of a mini, because that was something we were doing on the fly. It was kind of an on the fly, let's record this thing. And
Yeah,
so,
because it was somebody wanted to see it, so we decided.
yeah.
All right, why not?
Basically, circumstances happen. It might or might not be uploaded. This definitely is going to be uploaded first because this is our next full episode. But yeah. Anyway, I'll discuss that later, or maybe put it in the description or something, tell you more about that. But yeah, This is
Snowball
episode 4,
Burrito.
Journey of Being a Human Being.
Snowball Burrito, episode
Burrito.
4. Yeah.
Take care, y'all.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Have a good
Thanks for
one.
listening.
Sleep well. Or wake up.
Goodbye.